Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like, to check the Jumbotron first, before attempting to eat a stack of Supreme nachos in one bite. Now you're just a meme that everyone shares on game day. Checking first is smart, so check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
When the game tips off, the NBA action is just beginning on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because FanDuel is your home for NBA live betting. However you want to play, now is the perfect time to join. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 plus and present in Virginia. First online, real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Welcome to the Paddock and The Pavilion, the podcast that brings you the latest from the worlds of horse racing and cricket. I'm Stephen Wallis, and in this episode, we focus on cricket as Clare Cannon, founder of Cricket Without Borders, returns to share her first-hand account of a historic match. On January the 30th, the Cricket Without Borders team played against an Afghanistan women's 11 at Melbourne's Junction Oval. We'll take you through the build-up, the match itself, and the emotional moments that followed. Hello, Claire. Welcome back to the Paddock and the Pavilion.
Thank you, Stephen. Great to be here.
Well, today we're going to look back at that historic match between the Cricket Without Borders and the Afghan Women's 11 at the Junction Oval on the 30th of January. Let's begin, Claire, with what was the build-up like to the match?
Well, we had it was exciting, but we really were so keen that we did nothing wrong. We just wanted everything to be perfect on the day, which it was. And we had a wonderful training session the night before. The two teams trained at the Junction, but not together. And they met each other. And I was actually round the corner and parking the car, and I could hear all this racket going on. I couldn't work what was going on. It was the two teams meeting each other and talking to each other, just girls being young women. It was fantastic. So there was a lot of excitement, and we'd really, our girls were very aware of the incredible what a gift it was we were to play the Afghan women's team. And I said to them, look, you need to understand we're really just the canvas upon which the Afghan women's team will start painting their future cricket journey. So they really understood that, and we talked about we were not playing against each other, we were playing with each other in this great match. So it was just super exciting. I think everyone was up at 4:30 in the morning. We were so excited, and it was just a great morning.
You did have a meal the day before, though, didn't you, together?
Well, in the end, we didn't, because it just became a little bit hard with the training. But the girls were all staying at the same hotel, and the Afghani girls are not known for being early risers, but that morning they were all up with the larks and down at the ground. So, but we had spent that time together just chatting to each other and talking to the coaches, and so it was nice. Yeah.
Was there a lot of heightened activity in the media and the press in the build-up to the game?
Yes, there really was quite a bit. And what was so exciting, I mean, we had the BBC there who were doing a documentary on the Afghani women, but I have a German friend who was following it on Al Jazeera and Voice of America. So then we had the Australian media. We had a young woman from Sky Sports who was out, and she was our journalist in residence for the day, and she was reporting. So there was a lot of interest, yeah.
And you met up with former Australian star and now TV commentator and the first Cricket Without Borders manager, Mel Jones.
Absolutely. It was great to see her again, and she's been such a force behind these Afghan women, and I think she really her. I think she pushed Cricket Without Borders as the team that the Afghan women should play with Cricket Australia. So that was great for us because she knows our team so well and she knew the Afghani women so well, and she thought it would just be a very good match.
Yes, the match itself, early start, 9:30 a.m. It was a bit later here because I watched the first innings on the YouTube stream here in the UK.
Well, I think we started with, some speeches closer to 8:30 in the morning, and Nick Hockley spoke, the CEO of Cricket Australia. The Deputy Foreign Minister spoke. I spoke. The Australian Governor-General was there. Clare Cannon was there from the ECB. There were some fantastic people in the room. So just exciting to see them all down at the ground.
And a decent crowd there?
Look, there was a bit of a crowd. There was quite a number of family members of the Afghan women. There were a lot of Cricket Without Borders supporters and parents. There was definitely a lot of excitement in the ground and people calling past. I think some of the England women's team called past in the morning as well. So, it was great.
Afghanistan women batted first. They got 103 for 9. I've got to get that in because Shazia, who's featured so much on this podcast, was the top scorer with 40.
Yes, she played very well. She was terrific. So we were a little bit concerned about her, but it was great to see her do so well. And I mean, we're so lucky to play on such a beautiful ground. I mean, it's a first-class cricket ground, the home of Cricket Victoria. So to be out there playing on that ground was such a delight.
And the Cricket Without Borders side, 106 for 3 off 19.2 overs.
That's right. So, yeah, it was a nice tight match, Stephen, which is exactly what we wanted. It was fantastic.
Any players from the Cricket Without Borders side to pick out?
Well, I think Jess Field was a bit of a standout. She's a terrific player, and we did retire a couple of batters so that we could, our girls could have a go, and so that was fantastic. And I think Jess was the one, but there were little moments in there where there was some great activity. To be honest with you, Stephen, I need to go back and watch the match. There was so much going on. I was talking to so many people. People were coming up and, parents of girls who'd been on Cricket Without Borders tours, journalists, the Governor-General. I don't know. I actually need to go back and watch it again. There was so many distractions and so much excitement that there are moments that I've missed.
But the players from the Cricket Without Borders team must have enjoyed the match very much.
They absolutely loved the match, and they were so excited to be there. And I'd given them the talk. I said, look, I always say to them, it's not about you. It's all about representing the brand. But I did say, look, today, this is an historic cricket match, which will be remembered over the ages. And no one will remember whether you made 50, made a duck, caught a ball, or missed a catch. You were there, and that's all that matters. So they really came with that attitude, and they were really aware of how lucky they are to live in this country where everyone's free to play cricket and have an education. So it was a great awareness piece for them.
That's so wonderful about the Afghan women's team, how much they love the game of cricket.
Oh my gosh, they every time I think bat hit ball, they were cheering. When someone hit a 4, it was just fantastic. They supported their team. They absolutely loved the game. They want to play more together, and it was just so joyful to see them play.
I love the logo on their shirts as well, the red tulip and you'll correct me now, the wattle.
It's the wattle. It's the wattle.
Yeah.
Yes. So obviously they weren't allowed to use their international or national flower. So they did that beautiful symbolism, and it just wonderful to see how much they love their adopted home, but how passionate they are about Afghanistan.
And the significance of the game since then. We've had some launching of a Pitch Our Future, with the aim of securing the team's future online.
That's super exciting, and I think it's definitely a next step, and wonderful to see Lords is going to put some money towards that. I think it's a really positive and necessary next step.
Yes, the MCC and the MCC Foundation have launched a global refugee cricket fund, and the initial focus is to raise funds for Pitch Our Future.
Yes, fantastic. And I think I'm going to be pitching to the Melbourne Cricket Club, MCC, here, that they should be also putting money towards that fund.
Oh, that sounds good. It's not just about playing, though. It's also about coaching, education, and their mental health as well.
That's right. Look, I think what is so encouraging is that most of those girls are doing great things. They're either studying or they're working. They have a lot of purpose in their life. Their English is really pretty fantastic. I just think it's probably harder for some of their family members, but I was surprised and delighted about some of the great things these young women are doing.
And after this historic match, you went off to the Test match, another historic match at the MCG.
Absolutely, we did. And we were in the Olympic room hosted by Cricket Australia, which was a wonderful experience. I think Cricket Australia had 400 people in the room, including they invited all living Australian female test players. So there was a lot of test players in the room, which was very exciting. But there were all sorts of people in the room, and it was just an incredible experience for our girls to meet these women and to learn that the second part of their day, their work, if you like, was to talk to people in the room, mix with the Afghani women, watch the game and just see how cricket's administered in this country. So it was a great experience for them.
And they saw a very dominant, dare I say, Australia on those 3 days, but they saw 2, I think, didn't they?
That's right. On that day, Australia was very dominant. Was very dominant throughout. So, yeah.
You are listening to the Paddock and the Pavilion with Stephen Wallis. Don't forget, you can find this show along with our archive of over 300 episodes on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, or on our YouTube channel. Were you surprised just talking about the Ashes that Australia won 16-0?
I was surprised. I knew Australia was a good team, but I think that, as has been talked all the way through these Ashes, Australia is a very athletic team. And when you look at the young women play, I mean, they're extraordinarily athletic and they've got an enormous amount of stamina. And it's a delight to watch them play.
And you had a Victorian scoring 150 in the Test match.
That's right. Annabelle Sutherland. So the daughter of the former CEO of Cricket Australia, James, and her brother Will plays for Victoria. So, that was an incredible performance for such a young woman. So a great day. It's
a bit galling as an Englishman here when the oldest player in the Australian women's top 3 is a 23-year-old.
I know. I think there's just an incredible amount of depth in this Australian women's team. It's extraordinary, really. And people have come in and people have come out, and but the team just seems to march on. So it's been really pretty incredible to watch.
Getting back to our podcast, the historic match at the Junction Oval on the 30th of January, how do you reflect on the match 2 weeks after the event?
Well, I just think it was a red letter day in so many ways. Cricket Australia had a panel of women talking in the room afterwards at the Olympic room in the evening at the tea break. So it was just a wonderful celebration of women. It was a wonderful celebration of resilience for the Afghan women, and on a much, much smaller level. But I have to say it, Cricket Without Borders has operated for 14 years without any funding from anybody except for a few a handful of supporters who put their hands up. Girls have worked 2 jobs. They've got $500 grants from Rotary clubs to come on tours, and I've supported the organisation as well. So to have that moment where, even though we're very much in the background, for our work to be recognised as well and be the one chosen was fantastic. But over all in all, for the Afghan women's team to be in that room and just to see the leaps, just to see, well, the professionalism, and also how much the England and Australian players are paid to play cricket now. It's very inspiring.
And the game, Cricket Without Borders versus the Afghanistan women's team, really brought the Afghanistan's women's players' situation to a worldwide audience.
Absolutely. And the other thing is that they play cricket with such joy. I mean, so many women's teams where nobody is being paid and you don't have an opportunity to be paid. You only play the game because you love the game. And I think, you see some of the men who become very jaded, they're traveling all the time, they're earning a lot of money. But, sometimes you see them fall out of love with the game. I mean, these young women just love the game. And it's so refreshing to see that.
Will there be another game? Is that on the calendar?
Well, I don't know. Nick Hockley's said there'll be a debrief. So let's see. We hope.
But it's worth concluding by mentioning some of the people that have made this game possible, not just Cricket Without Borders.
No, not at all. I mean, Cricket Australia has been extraordinary. Nick Hockley went to Dubai to the ICC, and he had to campaign hard for this game to go ahead at all. So huge kudos to Nick Hockley and Mike Baird, the chair of Cricket Australia, and all Cricket Australia did to support bringing out these Afghan women. So there's been a huge amount of work behind the scenes by that organisation.
Well, hopefully it's the first of many games. I'll be posting the links to Pitch Our Future and the MCC link for donations on the bio for this podcast. And thank you again, Claire, for joining me to talk about this historic match.
Oh, wonderful to talk. Thank you, Stephen.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
O'Reilly. You need parts? O'Reilly Auto Parts has parts. Need them fast? We've got fast. No matter what you need, we have thousands of professional parts people doing their part to make sure you have it. Product availability. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.